Oh, just before we came on here, I did see, and we talked about it a little bit. Andy Dalton got into a car accident,
Yeah.
so Bryce Young's going to be starting for Carolina today. Which I mean, honestly, if you sit and you think about it, it is kind of apropos, seeing as the Carolina Panthers are a bit of a car wreck. See what I did? You see what And welcome to Stay Tuned Sports, everybody. I am your boy King. That is your good friend Jimbo right over there. And boy, we got a packed show here for you today, ladies and gentlemen, because NFL trade deadline is coming up and some teams are making moves. And one of those teams is one that we've thought for a while now was going to have to make one. And this is going to be the question. What happens if the Chiefs get good? I don't know what's going to... Again, they're 6-0, the only undefeated remaining team in the NFL. But as everybody who's been watching has noticed, they play like shit. They've not played well in these first 6 weeks. Now they get DeAndre Hopkins. They get another weapon there for Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes can stop throwing interceptions, if he can stop channeling his inner Danny Dimes, what will this mean for the Kansas City Chiefs and for the NFL? Plus, lots of other trade rumors, trade innuendos, trade flirtations, if you will, a little cupping of the trade balls. Lots of stuff going on here. And maybe we'll touch on the fact that my Devils gave up 8 goals, including one from the other side of the fucking ice. But we'll save that for...
Okay.
Oh, dude, that was so bad. It was so bad. I'm just looking at the... And you saw... When you see Allen at the other end of the ice and it goes in and he stands... He looks like a kid who walks into his parents' bedroom and is just like, I throwed it up. I did the throw that up. Sorry. And it's like, he just has that like, what happened? Oh no, what happened? Oh, so bad. So last night was we scored 5 goals. You figured, Devils are going to look good. No, we lose 8-5. One of them being a fucking goal from the other side of from their zone, from their side of the ice. Nonsense. Other than that, though, Jimbo, how you doing on this fine Wednesday?
Still a little sore, but I actually got to watch the Flyers finally last night. We lost 4-1. Had a good scrap between Delaceris, I believe is how you say his name. I'm not sure who the Capitals guy was. It wasn't Wilson. I was hoping it was Wilson because screw him. But
I like Wilson because he fucked with the Rangers, so therefore he gets a lifetime pass for me. I was like, all right, Tom Wilson he's all right.
He takes the Buddy Ryan rule to a new extent, farther than I take it. So, we're a young team, So I mean, it was fun to watch them. Typical Flyers fans, Michkov, who's our superstar rookie, he's 18 years old, He got lost in some of those plays, and that's not good for, if he's gonna be the face of the franchise. Dude, he's fucking 18 years old. Okay, like he's got to learn how to play with a team. Like I've seen some of the clips of him when he was over in Russia before he got over here, and he was doing the Michigan, goal scores and things like that. So I mean, it's gonna take some time.
So here's the thing. Well, the good thing is that Philadelphia fans known for their patience, known for letting players develop and do well. So I mean, it'll be fine. I'm sure it's gonna go great. I'm sure everything's gonna go fine there. But of course, the big news of the day is DeAndre Hopkins making a trip from Tennessee over to left to wherever. Kansas City, where he's going to now play with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and get to hang out with Taylor Swift a bunch, which is all fine and good. I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy that. But yeah, so here's the thing. As we discussed on this show many times, the Chiefs being 6-0, but not playing well, and their defense kind of keeping them in it, and all those things that we've talked about on this show over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. What does this trade do? Does this put them over the top? Are they going to be like an instantly better team because of this? Or, again, Patrick Mahomes hasn't been throwing the ball well. As we said, he's got more interceptions than he's got touchdowns. He's got worse statistics than Daniel Jones, which, if you're using that as a metric, not great. Is this the catalyst to turn it around? Is it just the fact that they have a lack of weapons because everybody's hurt? Rashee Rice is hurt. Hollywood never even got a chance. Isaiah Worthy is a rookie, and even though he's very fast and can make amazing plays, he's still, a rookie. Yeah. Does this fix the Kansas City problem, or is this just a bit of window dressing? Or would you like to see them go for somebody else? Like, if you're a Kansas City fan, like, put yourself into the mind of a Kansas City fan. Imagine yourself putting on a wolf mask, robbing some banks, maybe smoking meth, like good old X Factor. How do you feel about this trade?
Before I listened to any of, obviously Pat McAfee's show today, because this news broke early. I mean, I texted you at 7 in the morning.
This was very early. This came because apparently this was something that was working through the night.
Yeah.
And broke very, very early this morning about it being just about done. That this was getting done instead of just talked about. It was actually going to be done. So, again, early morning news, early morning all that kind of shit. But
as far as what this trade does for the team, I mean, I think this finally makes what we've been saying real now. What's the NFL going to do? What's the other NFL teams going to do when the Chiefs get good? Because right now they're good. They're going to, without playing a snap yet with DeAndre Hopkins, they're good. This trade doesn't. And now listening to Pat's show and stuff like that, they made some good points about this. It's not just about another weapon for Pat Mahomes. This helps Travis Kelce. This helps the running game a little bit. Now, like they said, you can't double team Travis Kelce now because now you got to worry about DeAndre Hopkins. And this, I think, also helps the other receivers because now you're taking all that pressure off those receivers to say, hey, you got to get open. You got to get me space. That's going to be D-Hop's job now. And as far as Patty Mahomes with all the turnovers, how many of those turnovers were him trying to force the ball and trying to be perfect so these receivers could catch it, and get some big plays out of him? Whereas D-Hop...
does he continue to try to force the ball, and especially with D-Hop there? I think that's going to be the question. You think maybe, that he can... And here's the other thing, too. DeAndre Hopkins... Now, granted, he's been on a couple of bad teams in bad situations in Atlanta, in Arizona, and Tennessee after his stay in Texas with Houston, where he really made his name for himself. Since he's left the Texans, he's been okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. He hasn't been D-Hop. He hasn't been, oh my God. So the name still follows him of being like, oh, he's DeAndre Hopkins, but it hasn't really followed him yet. So that's my question is,
sorry.
No, go right ahead. No, right ahead.
As far as that goes, when he left Houston, who was his quarterbacks? When he was in Houston, as much as we give to
I understand that. He had to deal with Kyler Murray, who was, young and stupid, and yes. I pointed that out. Then he went to Atlanta, and I forget who the hell he even had down there. And I think in the last year he was down there, he had Desmond Ridder.
Yeah.
Not great. And then he was in Tennessee, and he's had, Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. And wait, was he Tennessee last year too? I can't even remember, to tell you the truth. But that's the thing.
So.
Is like it's like, oh, was he there? Was he not? Like he hasn't had that impact on whether that's a quarterback's fault, whether that's his fault, whether he's declined or whatever. So I still think like, listen, this is a good move for Kansas City because they were desperate for a wide receiver. By the way, ELS in chat, how you doing, brother? If you are watching us and want to come to the chat, it's open. You want to yell at us, say we got stupid opinions, you like our opinions, no matter what it is. Chat is open. You got a topic you want to bring up that you think we should be talking about? Come on in the chat, say hello, say how you doing. And by the way, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. ELS in the chat, he says, honestly, DeAndre Hopkins was the right move for Kansas City, but I wonder if Kupp will get traded too. Now, that was my thought. No, my first thought when I heard about Cooper Kupp being on the block was that that's who Kansas City was going to go after, was Cooper Kupp, because it feels like that kind of fits. He to me fits Kansas City a little bit more than I think the other receivers that were out there. Now they got DeAndre Hopkins, so I doubt they're going to trade to get Kupp too. They might though. Embarrassment of riches when it comes to Kansas City. They'll find a way to make it work. I have no idea.
No, he's coming to Philly.
But shut the fuck up. Stop it. Stop it. Oh, you guys are going to get Myles Garrett. We're going to get Myles Garrett. And we're going to get Cooper Kupp. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm going to laugh when it happens.
Everybody's going to come to Philadelphia. Who doesn't want to play for Nick fucking Sirianni?
Hey, it's not Sirianni no more. It's Baldani.
What?
Baldani. Bald, because he's bald. And his last
But he's not. No, stop. Yep. That's like calling me budding because I'm bald and I'm fucking get the fuck out of here.
Don't tell people my nickname for you.
No. Your nickname for me is fat son of a bitch. I know what your nickname is for me. But and ELS again. ELS is always the top guy to chat. Hopkins was with the Texans from 2013 to 2019, the Cardinals till 2022, and he was with the Titans last year for 2023, and for the first 7 games. With the Tennessee, or first 7 weeks anyway, with the Tennessee Titans. So he was there last year with them. But that's what I mean. Since he left the Titans, since 2019, DeAndre Hopkins has been.
But he hasn't had a quarterback.
All right, but here's the thing. Like you have this is the thing that happens with pundits and talking heads, which I guess we are now. When people look at the individual performance and don't look at something else, and they will blame just the person and not anything else around him. And it happens with quarterbacks too. You'll see when a quarterback goes to another situation, or they lose a receiver, and then all of a sudden you see their numbers drop, and it's like, oh, this quarterback is washed. He sucks now. He's terrible. Like, and it's like, oh, but like it's not that. Like did he just forget how to play football? No, but that's how we gauge everything. That's how we see the stats. That's how we know how someone's doing good or bad, and people get paid by that. And it's everything is focused on the statistics. What numbers do you put up? How are you looking? Can you still play? Can you still catch balls? Can he? I think that's the question: is can he play in that offense? Can he be the difference maker? And like you're saying, like, oh well, he's going to open up everything else. I don't know if he's that dynamic of a receiver anymore to do that. So that's what I mean is I don't know if he's on quite that level yet. Now, here's the thing. I don't know Kansas City's cap structure. I don't know anything about that. ELS will probably end up knowing it. Who knows? My man knows everything. But if it's possible, does Kansas City go after Cooper Kupp? To then have a now you'll be able to replace the receivers you had there with 2 absolutely electric people, and then DeAndre Hopkins too. Like even if neither one of them are your explosive talents, you'll have 2 top flight wide receivers in the NFL, and then your explosive threat is Xavier Worthy, that you can then throw to pencil in every now and then. I see you looking. Are you doing some research there for me? What are you doing?
Yeah, because I did see, like, a couple hours after DeAndre Hopkins' trade was kind of official.
Right.
The Chiefs were close to trading for Cooper Kupp, and this is from the New York Post. Had the main thing says Chiefs had Cooper Kupp talks before DeAndre Hopkins trade, and I believe The other person that reported this was Rossini. I forget her
Diana
first name.
Rossini. Yeah, I love Diana.
Yeah.
How do you forget Diana Rossini? My God.
And I think what it was the Rams wanted a second round pick, and they would have ate some of the salary, but the Chiefs didn't want to give up a the first day draft pick or a second day draft pick. That's why they went with the fifth. That could be a fourth, depending on what the conditions of the trade was. So I mean, maybe they could go back and say, okay, listen, maybe we'll give you a fourth with playing time things that could get bumped up to a third, maybe. Like you said, depending on the salary cap.
If Kupp plays well this week, because he's coming back this week.
Yeah.
If he plays well this week and isn't traded before, the next week's cycle again, and we'll see how the Chiefs do with DeAndre Hopkins, and how that happens. As apparently there's a parade of ambulances going on beside my house here. Maybe that nudges them. Like if they can see, like, oh, we got D-Hop, it's working well. We might add somebody there, and if he's looking that good, maybe it's like, all right, screw it. We'll do an all-in now and see what we can do. And then, listen, worst comes to worst, we'll just make a dumb trade with Buffalo again during the draft and get another great draft pick. Like,
to add on to that too, like, why not go all in to get Cooper Kupp? Because I know Andy Reid did just sign an extension in the offseason, but he's getting older. Like, if they get the three-peat, I could see Andy Reid retiring.
That's because that's a legacy. Then you're set. Like you're gonna go down as probably the greatest head coach of all time. Even if Belichick comes back and gets the record for the most wins ever or anything like that. And I know he's got 7, everything like that. But if you're Andy Reid, you've won now 4 Super Bowls. You've been in 6 or 7 of them already.
7.
And then you're the first coach to ever win back to back to win the three-peat.
And what else is there to do?
Like that puts you right up there into the echelon. Like it's going to be hard to argue. Like that's going to be the argument forever. Where it's like when I was a kid, it was always Marino Montana. Who's the better? Marino Montana. Like that's going to be the coaching conversation. Is it Reid or is it Belichick, or was it all? And here's the difference. I think this is going to be the argument: is that Reid did it with so many different quarterbacks. Well, with at least a couple different ones, and did it with teams that were differently, and did it with 2 different teams. Belichick had Brady leave, and if you look at Belichick's career before Brady, even with the Patriots, and then with the Browns, and then after Brady, it's only those Brady years. So I think that's going to be the argument. Is people are going to say that it's going to be Andy Reid as maybe the greatest coach in NFL history if they pull this off.
Yeah, me personally, I think Andy Reid is the greatest coach when it comes to comparing him and Bill Belichick. But like right now, it is a close and it'd be a good argument. But the main thing, you get a back-to-back-to-back.
You get a three-peat. I think that vaults you. I really do. And I love Andy Reid. And here's the thing. This is one of the few. I loved Andy Reid even when he was an Eagles coach. That's how much I liked Andy Reid and respected him, is that even as an Eagles coach, I was like, God damn, I like him. I hate that he's the fucking Eagles. But damn, I really did love him as a coach, and I still do. I still think he's a great coach, and that's why there's part of me that still always roots for the Chiefs. I guess they can be obnoxious, Patrick Mahomes and his wife or whatever, and obviously Kelsey and Taylor Swift and all that kind of stuff. But
mostly her.
I love Taylor, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. She's got.
They show her too much on. Now she's taking over baseball. She's taking all the sports away from me.
She didn't do anything. You can still watch the sport. She didn't do nothing. She's
And plus, she's a Yankees fan. Screw her.
And she's fine. Actually, I think she's probably a Phillies fan, didn't she? Yeah, because she sang at the World Series for the Phillies, and
she had Yankee gear on.
And no, she didn't.
When they were there?
Yeah, she didn't have Yankee
Travis?
Gear. No, she didn't have Yankee gear on. She had a Yankees popcorn bucket because that's what they fucking sell at Yankee Stadium.
There, dump it out, put it in a Ziploc bag, throw that shit away.
Shut the fuck up, man. Yankees. By the way, let's go Yankees. I know. Everybody's kind of on the Dodgers with Shohei Ohtani, and now Fernando Valenzuela unfortunately passed away.
Yeah, I just saw
R.I.P. to Fernando, and everybody. That was Fernando Mania was a huge thing back in the day, and so that's bad. But I'll tell you what. Not going to work. Because if there's one thing the Yankees are good at, it's crushing everybody else's dreams. So let's go Yankees,
cheating.
baby.
And cheating. When does that start, Friday?
J Chip in the chat says, how do you feel about Cooper Kupp to the Steelers?
That was another.
That's another rumor that's been popping around here as well.
I think that so the three teams that I saw, I'm joking around about Philly, but again, this is from the girl reporter that I can never remember.
They got a Mercedes. Dude,
I can never remember her name.
Here's the thing. I'm not trying to be misogynistic. I'm really not, but she is really hot. So, that's the reason I remember her name. Not just because she does, she's a very good reporter. She did that Jets expose last year about how bad the Salah locker room was and how bad things were in there and all that kind of stuff. But on top of that, she's a real looker. So how you keep on forgetting her name is beyond me. But
because
continue.
I don't want to pronounce it wrong and insult her. But she did report that.
You're Italian. You should know how to say Diana. I mean, I'm Irish and German, and even I'm saying Diana Rossini. Yeah, gabagol.
She reported that the Eagles, the Steelers, and the Commanders were ones that are teams to watch for Cooper Kupp. So the Steelers, I think, out of those three, would be the best fit, and I think would make that offense even nicer. As long as they, I guess, keep getting the Russell Wilson they got from last week. I mean, it helped George Pickens.
But I didn't see. Here's the thing: I didn't hear the Washington rumor. But man, if Washington gets him, they're kind of going all in. They're kind of saying we can do something this year, and push it forward. That's interesting. That would be an interesting get if he ends up going to Washington.
I wouldn't go all in if I'm Washington though, because you obviously have a good team. You're gonna have to give up draft picks, so why not? I know you're against draft picks and everything.
No, but when you're Washington and you're trying to rebuild from the Dan Snyder era, and you basically have to rebuild not just the team but an entire organization, draft picks are again, I'm not a huge fan of draft capital and you got to get your draft picks. Draft picks are so valuable. Yeah, not really. I'm not a big draft picks guy, but in the case of Washington, I think. Maybe a little more valuable than for other teams. I will agree with that.
Yeah. And speaking of draft picks, too, with all these trades going on, a lot of second-day draft picks being used. And if you really think about it, I forget where I heard it. It might have been Pat McAfee's show or one of the other ESPN shows I watch. You're going to start seeing a lot more of those later picks used in these picks or in these trades because of the NIL deals in college where – a above average wide receiver who may be slotted as a fourth round draft pick may stay at school and make $1 million or $2 million compared to only, $300,000-$400,000 in the NFL till he, builds.
Yeah, if they feel like they're not going to be a high enough draft pick, they could just sit there and still make a couple million in college, be a big fish in a small pond, as it were.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Flocka Waka in the chat saying Washington has the same amount of cap space as well. So that's the other thing, too, to think of when we're thinking about all these trades and fantasy trades and everything like that, of who's going to get who. And, it's fun to think about a lot. But that's at the end of the day, it comes down to dollars and cents and if you have the room for it and if you have the assets to trade. Now, when you look at Washington, I don't think they have the assets as much when it comes to, the talent or players. I think they're... You got Jaden Daniels, you got Scary Terry, and then it's everybody else. So I don't know who the Rams would want to get, or who they would be looking at. So I think it would be a lot of draft picks there. So you have to say, what are the Rams hearing? What are other teams offering? And I think that's what we're waiting on right now. I think we're in the bidding war kind of thing here, where you have probably the Steelers calling. Flocka brought up, should the Lions make a trade for a wide receiver or top defensive end? And we'll get into the defensive end rumors as well.
Wide receiver might not be a bad thing for them.
Everybody's going to be, who's going to, well, we'll give you this and this. And then someone else calls and they're like, well, this team offered this. And okay, well, we'll offer this. Or another team says, okay, we're out. We're not even going to do anything like that. I think we're at that point right now. And we're going to see what the insiders start saying. We're going to see if maybe a couple teams drop out of the race, and then who's willing to make that final push to get Cooper Kupp. Now, also, I've heard rumors that maybe Stafford's on the block, but I don't know about that.
Stafford to the Giants.
Dude, I would love that just to see my sister-in-law's head explode. Because then for Christmas, I would have to buy her a Stafford jersey. Just for anybody who doesn't quite know, my sister-in-law, for some unknown reason, and she's never been able to explain it. She hasn't. She won't. I don't know why. But she hates Matthew Stafford with the hell and fury of 1,000 suns. And I don't know why. And this has been a thing. This is just a thing with her. Whenever the Rams came on, she said she's hated him when he was with the Lions. She just cannot stand Matthew Stafford. Don't know why. No idea. But she just hates him. So I think it would be just primo if the Giants went and traded for Matthew Stafford, just because. Because now I want to buy her a Stafford jersey. For Christmas.
The home jersey. I'll buy the away jersey.
Yeah, that's all. And she has to wear it. You can't be rude. It's a Christmas gift. You can't be rude and get rid of it. You can't do that. So that's a pretty interesting thought process when it comes to who. Like again, Washington would be nice. Washington would be good. Now also the question becomes, and this is the thing that Flocka Walker brought up there. In the chat. Oh, right. ELS bringing up that the Vikings have been mentioned for Matthew Stafford. I have seen that, but I'm not sure because that comes from fucking Dove Kleiman. So, yeah. Take that.
I don't understand.
Take that with a handful of salt,
Yeah.
and raise your cholesterol. Do whatever with that because that one I'm not so sure about. But when it comes to defensive ends, like obviously, as we saw last week, the Lions, they won. Last second field goal, everything like that. But you did notice the pass rush.
That's twice this week.
That's twice this week, man. It's the pass rush is very hard to say. The pass rush that the Lions had this week, not nearly as effective without Hutchinson there. So is that a question if you're the Lions now? Do you start looking at maybe some defensive ends that might be out there, or some defensive player, just something to bolster your pass rush, like a Myles Garrett? Cleveland apparently seems to be in a selling mood. Shocker. Yeah. But here's the thing: what are you going to have to give up to get a Myles Garrett? You know what I mean? And
so, go ahead.
No. I'm just saying, like you have him. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else out there right now. I thought I saw another name defensively that was available, and it's not coming to me right now. But I'll think of it while we're coming up with this answer. But and I've also seen a lot. Well, it's mostly Eagles fans screaming, "Myles Garrett to the Eagles! Myles Garrett to the Eagles!"
He likes playing here.
I think if someone grabs him first, it probably would be the Lions. And if I'm Myles Garrett, I want to go to the Lions because that is an immediate Super Bowl contending team. And it makes sense. You're in a different conference, so the Browns would be amenable to that. They're not going to trade it in conference. You try not to trade in conference if you can, and you especially don't trade in division. And you certainly don't want your best players to go to other teams in your divisions. Fucking Giants.
Thank you, Joe Shane.
Fuck that cocksucker. God, I want him fired so bad. I want him fired so bad. Anyway, Jimbo, your thoughts. Should the Lions go after Myles Garrett? Should they be grabbing another defensive player? Or do we wait still a little bit?
If I'm the Lions, I go all in. I know I just said about the NIL deal, so we'll see a lot more third day draft picks being used, this and that. But they got so close last year, and even Dan Campbell said we don't know when we'll be back here because it's so hard to get here, and they seem to have a team that should be there this year. How much harder is it to do it a third time? So why not go all in now? Let's win it and win this for the Detroit fans and stop the pain that's been going on for how many years of no Super Bowl wins. So I would. I mean, even if they ask for a first-round draft pick, Myles Garrett, there you go, and give it to them.
And Flocka Walker in the chat bringing up a couple of the other names that I was thinking as well. Thank you so much, Flocka, for that. Is obviously Max Crosby from the Raiders. And one that I hadn't been hearing, but actually kind of makes some sense, is Josh Hines-Allen from Jacksonville. That could be another name that you kind of pull up there. and see what you can do and have him there as well. Because I think, wasn't he, like, him and Hutchinson were the same class, I think? Weren't they the same draft class or something like that? I don't know. Either way, that's a couple other moves that you can think of as well. Even if you don't get, like, if you can't get Myles Garrett, you can't get Defensive Player of the Year. If the Browns want to hold on to him no matter what, and he's not on the block, and they're like, he's defending Defensive Player of the Year. If we're in rebuild, we're going to rebuild, but we're rebuilding around him and the defense here, and that's how we're going to go about it. Although if you're the Browns, you can't rebuild because you got the goddamn contract that you have to deal with fucking Deshaun Watson. So the Browns are in a fucking mess. Like, how do you go?
Maybe that's one route is, again, depending on how the salary cap goes, the Myles Garrett contract is, maybe trade him away to get next year's salary cap off the books. So maybe it makes it a little bit easier to get out from underneath that Deshaun Watson contract.
No, because if you get rid of other players and other just give it other money, like you're still under the contract there. You're not under all that money. You're just making more space for that contract.
Unless the team says we'll take on the contract, like we'll send you money plus draft picks or whatever like that.
For who?
For Myles Garrett.
Even if they do that, the Browns are still like. This is what I mean. You get rid of Myles Garrett, you get rid of his salary.
Yeah,
you're still under Deshaun Watson's contract, which still hamstrings you tremendously. His salary cap hit every year. Like next year is going to be what, 97 million, almost 100 million, or a little bit more than that. Like this year was 100 and something million. Next year is going to be almost 100 million. Like, and that's half, if not just a little less than half of the salary cap.
Yeah, but
you can't rebuild with that.
No, I know. What I'm saying though is like, say, like I don't know Myles Garrett's numbers, but say Myles Garrett's is 20 million next year on the books, and Deshaun's 70, so that's 92 million. You trade Myles Garrett away, all you have on the books now is 72 million for next year.
So I don't think it's 72 million though. Is it 72 million? I thought it was more than that. I thought it was a lot more than that.
I thought it was 72 this year, 72.
No,
72
this year is 100 and something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, it's still a fucking lot of money.
It's a lot. By the way, Flocka Walker, thank you so much for joining us. See you later, man. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. If you are hanging out in chat, by the way, come in, say hi, say hello, say how you doing. If you're watching us, thank you so much. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a bunch here on Stay Tuned Sports. So there's a lot going on here with the trades, with the trade rumors. Who's going where, who's doing what. That's what we're trying to figure out here. Let me pull up, let me see if there's any breaking. Let me pull up the X. See if there's anything else that's happening.
As you're doing that, so November 5th is the trade deadline.
It's also election day here in America. Whoa, boy, that's going to be a busy day.
If no one else gets traded, do you every year we go through this. Do you think this year's trade deadline was a bust? Even with DeAndre Hopkins trade, the Devontae Adams trade, like
there was a lot more. Like, well, again, it's not that it's a trade deadline day or something like that, where some people kind of want it to be like, oh, it's such a big thing. I think there's been a lot more movement this year than usual.
Yeah,
more so than your regular, like moving a practice squad guy from here to there, or trading a 5th round pick for a 3rd round pick and shit like that. Like, there's been some big names moved. You have DeAndre Hopkins moved. You had Amari Cooper moved. You've had Seattle picked up a couple defensive players. Like, there's been significant movement in all of this. So, it's not been a bad trade season, I would say. It's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been fun. Like I said, waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning and seeing DeAndre Hopkins getting traded, it was not on my bingo card.
Let's see here. I'm trying to see something. Oh, there was another trade here. I don't know. Adam Schefter's trying to talk some shit here. He's talking about how people are circumventing the cap, and that's the thing. This is the other thing that I learned over the last couple of years, especially when Tampa made their run with Tom Brady there, is the salary cap means nothing.
Yeah.
The salary cap means absolutely nothing. You need somebody there. You need your math wizard. You need a nerd. You need some, accountant, financial wizard, CPA, whatever, who just knows how to play with the numbers, play with the figures, play with the money, and you can sign and do whatever you want with whoever. Because that's it. People often say this, like, well, how do they do this? How are you doing this? How is that terrible? Oh, that's circumventing the cap. Oh, that's so bad. It's like, the cap means nothing. Oh, this team's not going to be able to sign anybody. They don't have the cap room. The cap doesn't matter. The way you can restructure contracts and move money around and put money later, or give money sooner, or guaranteed money here, or this, there, that, and the other, and deferred payments, and blah, 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 whatever. You can make the cap work for you. And if you can't, then you have bad cap people that with you, and you should fire them and hire new ones.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, a cap problem should never be a problem. And I look at the Saints, who are in salary cap hell right now, and if I'm the Saints organization, I'm like, how did we get here? Fire everybody in the financial department. Let's hire some new people who know how to work the money and work the cap here, and help out the general manager and help out the organization and fix whatever cap problems that they have, because they put themselves in cap hell. By the way, they just signed Dalvin Kamara to a new deal, so he's not going anywhere. Because that was another thought, was that maybe he'd be traded. Yeah. But apparently he will be staying put in New Orleans with a new contract. So good for Alvin. Even though he hasn't done a lot this year outside of the first 2 weeks,
but again, going back to it, I mean, once Carr got hurt, really all the offensive, stats, whatever, all went down, because you're not worried about the quarterback.
Carr got hurt in their third straight loss, so it's not like he got hurt and all of a sudden they started losing. They were losing long before that.
Yeah.
They were losing long before that, so that's not a...
I'm trying to defend him.
I know. You're trying your best. You're doing your, but facts are what they are. Facts are stubborn things, as John Adams would say. Still no. I'm just looking around here, seeing if there's any other news. Still no movement on Cooper Kupp or anything like that. So that, I mean, when it comes to the trade deadline, obviously the D-Hop one was the big one, and that was our question here: is whether or not, like, is this going to be enough for Kansas City? Are they still going to move for Cooper Kupp, or is Cooper Kupp going to end somewhere else, like in Detroit, like in Pittsburgh, like in Washington? Is there something along like? And part of me feels like maybe you're right. Maybe Detroit takes a shot at everybody here. Yeah. Maybe Detroit tries to get Cooper Kupp. Maybe they try to get Myles Garrett or Max Crosby or Josh Hines Allen or somebody else, anybody else out there that maybe is like, listen, this is our window. We are literally this close, and we just happen to lose one of the biggest pieces we had with Aiden Hutchinson. Let's try to fill that gap as much as we can. Little Dutch boy with his finger in a dike, and not that dike, and try to figure this all out, and give this our best shot.
Yeah.
Because right now we've beaten the Vikings, who were the only undefeated team in the NFC. So now we have a tiebreaker over them. So right now we're the number one team in the NFC. The number one team in the NFC is the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
By record and by most consensus views of people.
Yeah.
Detroit Lions are the number one team in the NFC. They are now de facto team to beat.
Here's another thing to make a case for going all in. If they make it to the Super Bowl, there's a chance that Hutchinson
that he can come back and play. Right.
So can you imagine if he came back and played in the Super Bowl, him, Myles Garrett / Max Crosby, whoever, like, that defense will be even better than it was with just him.
Dude, if Aiden Hutchinson comes back for the Super Bowl, I want them to have the introductions, have everybody come out, and then the lights go down, and then they start playing Goldberg's theme, and just he comes out of lock, dum, dum,
with security,
dum, dum, dum. Oh, dude, come on! You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Come on, Raj.
Come on. Aiden. Oh, dude. I'm getting my hair's just standing up in the back of my neck. Come on.
Yeah.
NFL, hire me as a production expert. I'll help you out here. We can do this. I promise you. It'll be great. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Because you're seeing the Chiefs are the number one team in the AFC, number one team in the NFL right now, being 6-0, even though they're not playing like it. And now they're saying, listen, we're going in. We're getting DeAndre Hopkins. We may not be done yet. Our defense is already super strong. Maybe we even, do something like that. Like, it seems like I don't think trades are done.
No,
I think we've got more trades coming up here. And we're going to see how that goes. But I don't think we're anywhere near done. But if I'm the Lions and I'm seeing what the Chiefs are doing, and I'm seeing like maybe you got other teams not only in the AFC clearly, but in the NFC might be trying to make some moves, maybe trying to grab some people, somebody else that's available out there. Maybe you're like, listen, this is our time. So if they're going to go all in, we're going to go all in. Yeah. And because here's the thing, even if you give up a first-round pick, it's a late first-round pick. Who gives a shit? Yeah. You know what? If you're the Lions, you know that the first-round pick you're giving up is going to be in the 30s. Let's be honest. Because you're probably making it to at least the NFC Championship game. So your picks are going to be, 29, 30, 31, 32, somewhere around there. So giving up that is not nearly as bad as if you were giving it up and you were, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, a top draft pick, Yeah. So I feel if I'm the Lions, I feel a lot better about. Oh, you want a number one draft pick for Max Crosby? Fine, we'll do that. Yeah. You want to or if you want a number one pick or a second round pick for Myles Garrett, sure, why not? We'll do that and just start adding the pieces, stack them up, and see. And honestly, who's going to say no to going to Detroit? Like, here's the thing. Detroit is now a destination spot because they are favorites to get to a Super Bowl. Yeah. So all those years, I grew up my entire life, my 43-plus years of living, where Detroit was a place you never wanted to be sent. And now it's a place where if you're looking to get traded, hey, maybe I get traded to Detroit. I got a chance at a title here. And see if you could pick up some real talent and some real good players there to fill in some of the holes there and to add. Like I said, if the Lions end up getting like Cooper Kupp or somebody like that, that's not because they're missing any wide receivers. That's just adding. Now you're just stacking talent. And then you imagine you have Cooper Kupp and then Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side. That's gonna cause problems. It's gonna cause problems. So interested to see how that goes. What else is going on other than clearly Andy Dalton can't drive?
Well, one other thing I want to ask you: did you see the clip of Dan Campbell? A reporter was asking him his response to Chris Christie calling him classless.
I did not. I did not.
That was, so Chris Christie called him classless for running trick plays against Dallas. Obviously, he's a big Dallas
Christie's he's New Jersey's former governor, but also a Cowboys fan, which I don't know how the fuck that happens, but whatever.
Yeah. So when the reporter was saying it, Dan Campbell just started laughing. He goes, basically, I'm, whatever, this and that. He goes, the last time I was called classless was this one time I was drinking wine out of a bottle. Yeah. And he just moved on. I guess that's the other thing. Like, why? Who doesn't want to play for Dan Campbell? Just talking to him, just listen to him.
Oh, that guy makes you want to run through a wall. Yeah, you want to run through a wall for that guy. Checking some stuff here. Robert Saleh has joined LaFleur and the Packers in what is quoted as a fluid role. So he's not a water boy. He's not handing out fluids. He's just, that's not what that means. I know some people might be confused out there. That's not what that means. So that's interesting. I figured maybe he would be, kind of chill, relax, spend some time on the beach, hang out with his, 17 kids or whatever the fuck he's got out there and do all that. But apparently, no, he is going to be hanging out with his old buddy LaFleur. And
maybe he wants to join them and have a chance to win the Super Bowl because he sure as hell wasn't going to be
with the Jets. Was not going to be with the Jets. And listen, that's part of his problem too. And like I said, he's a great defensive coordinator. He's a great defensive thinker. He's fantastic with that. Just not as a head coach. And you're kind of seeing that with the Jets a little bit, too, because the defense, which was very strong, is all of a sudden not great.
Yeah.
In the last couple games, especially the run defense has been horrid.
Yeah.
So you look at that, and it's like, well, maybe they did lose something, but, you can't demote your head coach to just being a defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? Like, that's you kind of have to throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to that. So, and that's unfortunate because that's the thing. You got rid of Saleh and you kind of benched Hackett. So the offense has played better and has looked better, and the defense unfortunately has looked worse. So now the Jets, you can't. There's no balance, and now you're 2-5. You're the same record as the Giants, which is never something you want to have. You never want to have the same record as the Giants, which, by the way, were in my Booty Cheeks 5 yesterday on a countdown. So, in case anybody wants to think I'm biased, no. Fuck that team.
I thought they showed heart.
As in they threw it up. As in they shit out their heart. And they were like, whatever. And now I heard people saying that the Giants. Listen, if the Giants trade Dexter Lawrence, I'm.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I'm officially done. There's people saying, "Oh, I want to see the Giants trade Dexter." I heard a lot. Again, it's a lot of conjecture. A lot of people saying what they wish and what they hope for and things like that. But still, I saw that and that made me. I thought ELS had some
Howie called Joe Shane. You guys are good buddies. I'm sure he'll give him up for a seventh-round draft pick.
No. But like seriously, like if we trade Dexter Lawrence, I officially will be the Giants season will officially be done for me. I will find a secondary team to root for, which usually kind of would be the Jets, but they kind of suck now too. So maybe I'll start looking around. Maybe the Chiefs. ELS, yes, we just brought that up. We just brought that up about Robert Saleh, kind of joining LaFleur and the Packers in his fluid role, which just sounds dirty when you really say, what are you going to do here? I'm in a fluid role. All right, Johnny Sins, calm down. It doesn't help that he looks like a very tan Johnny Sins to begin with. So,
Fluid coach.
Listen, Saleh was always, very, very hard on defense. He was, he always played the long game, He always wanted these guys to get that deep penetration on the holes there. So
he really stretched the defense. We better move on before we get fired.
They really put the pressure on the right spots. They really knew where to apply the pressure.
He knew how to clog up the holes. Oh God!
You could never sneak in the back door with those guys. Those guys always knew when you were coming. They always knew where you were coming. God, we're stupid.
This is what the Giants-Eagles game did to you?
Oh God, we're stupid. We're just stupid. Yeah, no. Listen, this is just how I am. This is how the last 13 years of Giants football. This is what it's done to me. But yeah, so we have that. So we got Saleh with the Packers there. What else do we have?
That's funny. He's with the Packers.
Yeah. Well, everything always comes full circle. The Seahawks have acquired Ernest Jones IV from the Tennessee Titans in exchange for Jerome Baker and a draft pick. By the way, just want to point that out as well. So the Titans appear to be a bit of sellers here. Some other news there. We still don't know about Jaden Daniels, whether or not he is going to play or not. Here's the thing. I have the feeling with the NFL is a production. The NFL is a television show. We love it. It's a sport. But it does have a lot in common with WWE. Maybe not the predetermined outcomes. Although some people would argue otherwise. With the refs these days, am I right?
Kansas City. I always gotta slip it in.
Just like Saleh, apparently. You threw me off. You threw me off
Predetermined.
My train of thought there with your slipping it in there. But it's about ratings. It's about getting eyeballs to the screen. And when you moved the Bears football team of Redskins Commanders game to the 4:25 game of the week window because it's Caleb Williams, who's been playing better as a rookie quarterback, playing against Jaden Daniels, who's been playing MVP level as a quarterback. And, yeah, he got his ribs injured. Oh, we're not sure if he's going to play or not. And some people are like, I don't care if even if he feels better, sit him. Don't play him for the game. Don't do anything like that. Do you think that there is pressure from either the Washington brass, or even like maybe NFL comes knocking on, like a little Men in Black situation, and that comes like, listen, you're 60%, maybe 70%. I still think you're going to play. Okay, I think you look at you. You're tough as an ox. All right, get out there. You know, is it that kind of situation where it's like he's gonna play no matter what? Like, is it that kind of situation? And do you want that? And because I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, you can't play him. It's like, there's a lot built around this with him playing. And I was like, outside of a catastrophic injury, it feels like there's a lot of pressure to play him.
Me personally, if I'm Dan Quinn, this would be a lot easier decision if they were, if Daniels was playing like how he is, but their record was like 3-4 or 2-5. You sit them.
Oh no, absolutely.
But they're good, and even though we said don't.
But
don't go
does
all
that
in
then make you see? Here's the thing, and this is, I'm going to flip this on its head for you quick. Now you said if they're not good, you sit them, but they are good. So do you risk him?
Yes.
In this short window, or do you sit him for this game and make sure that he is 100% for the next one, for the season going forward, or do you risk him getting injured and out for the year and now your season's fucked?
You play him.
And then if he gets hurt even worse and now he's out for the season.
Yeah. Because I mean they're good. I mean like kind of
but do you risk a season where you can make the playoffs for that? Do you risk that? Think logically here for a second is what I'm trying to say here. Because I'm leaning towards play him anyway, but I play devil's advocate here. So let me play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
If he gets injured and now your whole season's done, now all of a sudden, like that becomes a problem, because then all of a sudden the comparisons to RG3 come up. Now it becomes, oh, Washington just murders quarterbacks. Then it's a whole, what his career could have been, and it all spirals down the hole where you take the precaution, you sit him. Again, Mariota didn't play bad. Granted, it was the Carolina Panthers. I understand it. It's not the Bears. The Bears' defense is better. The Bears are a better team. Even if you don't believe in the Bears are a better team than what the Panthers are. Do you,
Here's an option that I probably would think about doing is start Mariota, have Daniels as your backup, so this way he's not playing. See how Mariota does.
It's a Miata.
If he plays like how he did when he came in, no harm, no foul. Daniels could stay there, get healthy, and the Commanders have a good game. If after the first quarter Mariota is playing like how he played with Philly, how he played with Tennessee, then you go to Daniels. You keep Mariota on a short leash, basically.
Maybe that's the way you do it. Maybe that's the way you go about it, and you can kind of have a little bit of the best of both worlds there. But we'll see how. Like, again, it depends on how injured he is. If I'm Washington, like, here's the thing. I'm looking at it from two ways, from the two perspectives. Obviously, you want him to play because it's a marquee matchup. They've moved it to a prime game area. So you want the eyeballs there. You're trying to rebuild your entire organization, not just the team.
Yeah.
So, and this is a way you can kind of try to do that, and it's a new face of the franchise, and you're not Daniel Snyder, and it's not, the way Washington has been in for the last 25 years. You're trying to portray this as the new Washington football team of Redskin Commanders. Like again, they finally retired Darryl Green's number the other weekend. So it's like, you know, they're making strides to make amends with a lot of the players that were pushed away by Dan Snyder and the organization over the last 25 years and how he handled everything. My thought, if I'm Washington, it's a tough decision, but if I'm Josh Harris, first of all, I'm firing Jake Allen as my goaltender for letting that goal go in the way he did against the Lightning last night for the Devils. But then I'm also being like, maybe we sit him. I think you sit him. And even though personally, I think I would love to see him versus Caleb, and I would lean that way, of like play him, see what happens, see how it goes. You're just starting to get out of this shadow, to get out of this shit pile that was Snyderism. Yeah. And what better way to show that than like, we're not going to treat him like RG3 was treated. We're not going to just throw him out there even if he is injured because, you know, eyeballs and money and television rights and all this other stuff. Like we're going to take care of our quarterback. We're taking care of our team. We trust that our backup quarterback is good enough to go out there and keep us competitive and keep us winning. And even if he's not, we'll trust that when Jaden comes back the next week, that we're going to get right back to our winning ways. Like that feels like that's going to be the way. And I see ELS in chat, he kind of has the same thought process too. He says, I think Jaden Daniels shouldn't play this week! ! So ELS is saying that with authority. And respect my authority. But I agree. I kind of agree with that assessment where it would be, I think unless he's 100% healthy, unless you know that he can go out there, and then if he has another injury or something else happens, like it is what it is. But I would honestly, even if he is 100%, I would like precaution over everything else, because we've seen so many other bad things happen this year. Sit him, and then that's it. If you hold him out to next week, and then he plays next week, and he is 100%, and the ribs are all better, and then he does happen to get injured or something else happens, you know, then it's not you being careless with him. It's just he happened to get another injury. Whereas if you put him out there this week and he gets injured, or his injury that he has gets worse, you're careless. You're hurting him. You're hurting the future of the franchise. You know, again, it's going to set the Redskins back all these years. Like it's going to be a whole mess again. Oh, these guys know better than Snyder. You know, he's Snyder just without the sexual assaults and trying to rob the NFL. You know, which again, it's still all bad shit.
It's also the Commanders, not the Redskins.
No, it's the Washington football team of Redskin Commanders, first of all. So, ELS giving us some headlines in the chat here, by the way. And if you want to join us in the chat and discuss all these different things that are happening, come on in. It is open. And if you haven't subscribed yet, that's a problem. Go ahead and subscribe. Help us out. Also, hit that like, hit that share. Helps us out. Also, we have the link for our donation station and our merch store. It's in the top of the chat and in the description below this video. Thank you so much for watching us here on Stay Tuned Sports. ELS in the chat says Gerard Mayo could be fired after just one season if the Patriots continue losing games, and that is coming from the Sports Hub 98.5 in New England, in Boston area.
Wow.
So that's something that's been linked out to them, to the media already. So Gerard Mayo already, but what did you expect? We expected, I think everybody in the world expected this from the Patriots this year. It was like, you got rid of Belichick. Yeah, you got Gerard Mayo in there. Yeah, but you look at your team that you have. I got a hair stuck to my hat. And
this could be just a player leaking this though, because of his after post game.
No, because again, I know that because that doesn't start. That's not a source. Like usually, if you have a source coming out with something saying, like I've heard sources say, source says, it's usually at that point from somewhere in the building. That's not the locker room. That's usually somewhere in a more maybe administrative side of it. Somebody else. Hearing things come from that way, maybe closer to Kraft or closer to the GM or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how much to take that, but you had to know what your team was going into this season. You had to know this was how it was going to be. Like, you had no offensive line. Your defense is in shambles. You have a rookie quarterback. Like, you got no wide receivers. You have you have nothing. You have to basically rebuild from scratch. This is what it is. Like, there was no way you were going into the season thinking, oh, we're gonna get number 7. We're getting number 7 this year. No, you're not. And if you had that thought, if you're Robert Kraft, you're a senile old man.
And what if those 20 years spoiled them so much that, okay, they fired Mayo, and then next season they bring in Joe Schmo, and same outcome happens. Okay, we're gonna fire him, just because you think going into the season, oh well, we had success for 20 years, we're gonna have success this year. No, you got to look at the team.
No, and that's what I mean. Is like you can't see this team that you're going to in this year and be like, oh yeah, no, this is great. This is great. Yeah, no, this works. Yeah, no, we're going to be real good this year. And if we're not, it's the coach's fault. It's like Gerard Mayo can only work with what he's got.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what he's got. By the way, also, there is ELS in the chat says Robert Kraft was expecting more from the Pats to be better this season. I don't know what the fuck Robert Kraft was looking at then, ELS, because this is not. There was no way this team was going to be anything more than really what they are now. And the fact that they won their first game against Cincinnati is, looking back on it, and even then was a hell of a shock. But even now is like super shocking that they were able to go ahead and do that. By the way, Steelers insider Jeff Hathorn has said that the Steelers are not, N-O-T, capital letters, trading a second-round pick for Cooper Kupp. So they will not be going that deep for the Kupp. So 2 picks, 1 Kupp, not happening.
But, we got to remember, though, the second-round pick that the Rams are asking for, that's the starting point. You could always, again, send a third, being a conditional third, depending on playing time, that could get bumped to a second.
You can, that's the thing. You can start negotiating like that, and that's what I mean. Is like you can start throwing the conditionals out there. We'll do conditional third that will go to second if plays this, or if makes to championship game, or to divisional rounds of playoff, or whatever. Like you can always throw that in there.
I mean, if you look at the trades already, it's already been set. Like the market's already been set. It's going to be conditional picks, a third or a fourth.
That's been the minimum bar that they've set.
Yeah,
they've said this is the lowest we're gonna go, is second. But like you said, lowest as what though? That's what I mean. Like, because you can negotiate. We'll do second, but we want to make sure that we get the return on investment. So if he gets injured or doesn't play, because he is prone to injury, so that's the other thing too. If I'm a team trading for him, I'm gonna sit there and say, like, you want a second for him. It's like, if he plays the entire time that he's with us, but you got to remember, he's just coming off of injury again now after week 1.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be his first game back. I'm not going to blindly give you a second-round pick now and be like, oh, well, he gets injured 2 games into playing for us, and then he's done for the season. It's like, and now I'm out of second-round pick? Like, no. Like, that, I would say second-round pick, but with guardrails.
Yes.
And so it would be a conditional second-round pick. And then if he doesn't play, if he does get injured, doesn't play a certain percentage of time, then it drops to a third or a fourth or whatever you want to do. 2/5. Who gives a shit? But that's what I mean. When it comes to draft picks, like, you mix it around, throw whatever shit you want at the wall. Like, again, I'm not huge on draft picks. I don't think they really mean too much. Again, the draft is a crapshoot anyway. People who get picked high in the draft don't do well. People are picked in mid and late round. I mean, look at fucking Brock Purdy. I know that's an anomaly, but even Brady was a 6th-round pick. So you got some of these other, a lot of good, solid players. And Patrick Mahomes, I think, was a 3rd-round pick or something like that. Like, it's
no.
What's he? Oh no, wait, he was picked up. No, that's right, he was.
Yeah.
No, who was it I was thinking of? There was somebody who's in the league.
I mean, Jalen Hurts was a second rounder.
Now that, yeah, but Jalen Hurts isn't a good quarterback, so.
Neither is Brock Purdy, but 3 INTs. Come on now, he's elite.
Stop it.
He has the same stats as Hurts. Dak Prescott. I don't think he was a first.
Dak Prescott. He was. That's the one I'm thinking of. Wasn't Mahomes? Because Mahomes, the Chiefs actually traded up or because the Bears took Trubisky, and then the Chiefs traded up underneath there to get Mahomes, where they could have gotten Mahomes because they were ahead of where the Chiefs traded up to, but they drafted Trubisky. And But here's the thing too: if Mahomes ended up in Chicago, I don't think he'd be as good as he is.
No.
And that's the other thing too. People always like, oh man, we missed out on Michael Jordan. You know, when you're the Portland Trailblazers, where you got Bowie instead of Jordan, or you got, we missed out on this player, and we could have had this. It's like, even if you got that player, it might not have worked out the way you think it. Like Mahomes right now, we could be calling a bust and being like, oh man, can you imagine? Can Chicago got him? But instead, look at Trubisky. Look what he's doing in Kansas City. He's amazing. Or whoever the hell they fucking picked. You know. Different systems do different things for different people, different coaches. And again, Patrick Mahomes got helped a lot by sitting behind Alex Smith and watching him play and absorbing the NFL under Andy Reid for those, 12, 14 weeks or whatever before they threw him out there as the starter. I was never one of the, oh man, the Bears could have had Mahomes, man. It's like, oh, yeah, but the Bears probably would have ruined Mahomes.
Yeah.
If we're going to be honest, so that's just how I look at that whole situation. But as it stands, I think that's just about everything going on right now. So again, D-Hop is now a Kansas City Chief. I keep on checking because every time I go off the air, it's like 10 minutes later, something else breaks.
They said they're still working on it, so it's not officially done, but it's pretty much.
It's not officially done, but it's it's agreed to by all parties, and now they're just working out the hammering the minutia and the legalities of it to send it to the league office and make sure all that happens or whatever. But yeah, so nothing else is broken yet. If something else breaks, as soon as we go off the air, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm just looking. I'm doing a last little quick thing here to check and see. What's that?
I said Dexter Lawrence gets traded to Philly.
Shut the fuck. No, stop. That's not gonna happen. Stop it. You don't trade in division. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
I mean, you pretty much did.
Because everybody saw it except for fucking Joe Shane, because he's a fucking idiot. That's why he should have been fired. He should have been after Barkley's performance last week. He should have been fired immediately, along with Dable. They both should have been fired.
I would have kept Dable, but definitely Shane should have.
Shane and Dable both need to go, and for different reasons, but they both need to go now.
And Mara, he hasn't. I agree with you. He has no balls because you flat out told the GM, "I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night."
Yeah, if we don't get Saquon, I'm not gonna be happy. And not only did you not get Saquon back, but he went to your most hated rival.
Yeah,
and you can't allow that. By the way, I'm putting it in the chat here real quick. The very first picture that I've seen of Hassan Reddick. Oh, it's not showing up. Okay, well, fuck it. Hassan Reddick practicing for the first time now with the New York Jets. So the Jets going to get a little bit of a bolster there on defense. How much, we don't know. We'll see what Hassan Reddick actually has. But it looks like Drew Rosenhaus actually talked some sense into him. Although, here's the thing, and I'm very upset with the insiders and Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and Pelissaro and all those people, because they said for fucking months that these fines you can't waive these fines. These fines are unwaivable. You have to pay these fines. These fines are, according to the CBA, you have to pay these fines. They're not rookie fines where you can waive them. These are fines on veteran contracts. You have to pay these fines. These fines are, he's got $12 million in fines. He's got so many fines. He's got to pay these fines. Oh, the Jets waived the fine. What? Then what the fuck was all that you said that they couldn't waive the fines, and then they just waived the fines? What the fuck are we talking about?
The only person that didn't say anything like that was Lombardi, and what he said was, so whatever Riddick signed for, say it was $30 million, they'll give him $42 million, and that 12 is how he pays back the fines and stuff like that. But that's the thing is,
I didn't see that. I didn't hear them say that. That wasn't something that I thought was part of the conversation. It was just that they waived the fines, and I'm like, that. What the fuck are we like? That's contrary to everything that every NFL insider has said. The guys who were supposed to be giving us the information, supposed to be the smartest guys in the fucking room when it comes to the NFL shit, fucking told us for months now. He's racking up these fines. He's gonna, no matter what the deal is, he's gonna have to pay it. What is this gonna mean? And blah blah blah. Turns out, nope, fine. Just waive it. Doesn't matter. What? Then what? What the? Whatever. Again, it's just more not fake news. Fake news, everybody. Fake news. I saw the news and I said, "Wow, such fake news." It was amazingly fake. I was like, "How is that such fake news?" I don't know. Oh, God, I can't wait for the election season to be over. God, I just want it to be done. Dude. Just all the ads and all the other bullshit and just say, oh, this person's lied about this and this person's lied about that. And then the local ones are fucking hilarious is because, it's like, you're a local congressman, eats babies. Vote for me. Don't eat babies. It's literally like that. It's so bad. And it's annoying. And I'm fucking tired of it. So can't wait for November 5th. Everybody out there can enjoy their fun little silly election season and have fun. Go vote for your favorite psychopath that you like, whether red or blue or whatever it is. Have fun. Everybody just enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful time. And just have a big old party. And I will be here after that to talk nonsense football and make terrible porn jokes about Johnny Sins right here with you on Stay Tuned Sports. That's as political as we're going to get ever on this fucking show. Never touching it again. Just know I hate you all fucking equally. Every single fucking one of you politicians can eat the shittiest part of my asshole. But that's going to do it here for Stay Tuned Sports, the main show, the flagship. Tomorrow night, we've got Thursday Night Football. Who the fuck is playing again tomorrow? The Rams and the Vikings?
Yes.
Yes, Rams and Vikings. So we'll be covering Rams and Vikings for you tomorrow, starting right here at 8 o'clock. One last shout out here to ELS in the chat. The Hassan Reddick situation has been the most funniest and weird situations that I've ever seen, and I agree 1,000% ELS. It's dumb, and it's almost as dumb as political ads in the political season. And again, thank God both of those are now almost over. But also, to let you know, if you want to help us out more directly, our donation station link and our link to a merch store is down below in the description. If you're watching this video, thank you so very much. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe. We will see you tomorrow again for Thursday Night Football. I'm your boy King. That is your good friend Jimbo right over there. Adios, everybody.